start. We're still on page Kuf Ki. Thank you very much. Into the lower section, the second section. And it will be 5 lines from the beginning. The line begins with the Rashativ Zayin Tachtei, Dalet Zayin Tov. He started talking about from the Pardes Vidiyas Atzmai, knowing himself. And he says, Abidiyas Atzmai Ideyas HaTorah. By knowing himself, he knows the Torah. We discussed this quite conclusively. And then the Rebbe said that this is similar to the Inyan of Machshava and Dibur. Machshava, thought, let us identify the thought that we are referring to over here. The thought that we are talking about, the truth is that every thought has that element. But the principal thought that this is referring to is the thought that surfaces in the person's mind without being solicited, without applying himself to any particular question. There is thought flowing in a person's mind constantly.
By itself.
By itself. It's called Machshava Mishetetes Todet.
Machshava?
Machshava Mishetetes. You don't know the Mishetetes. It flutters all the time.
Flourishing.
Thought. It's a constantly active. This activity of Machshava is not an activity that is a conscious activity where he would need a rest from it. It is not a thought, focused thought, to try to figure something out. This is the thought that simply reveals himself to himself. Mishetetes. The truth is, if you want to take this to its true significance, if this machshava should cease, then his life ceases. The fact that he's alive and the experience of life is attested to by virtue of this constant thought process. There is not a moment when one is free of that thought. This thought does not engage the person, does not, so to speak, tire the person. This thought gives a person the sense, gives it the sense, but not a conscious sense, just the reality, that there is a reality. He is always aware without being focused and aware of anything specific. This is the life element as expressed in the conscious personal existence. In these thoughts, in this thought, although we said he does not say anything specific, he does not say anything specific. On the other hand, he tells a person everything, the entire reality. As a result of this constant thought, in other words, as a result of his being, of living and experiencing life on a constant basis, a person is able to relate and to folk and to continue the word, to confront anything that comes his way. And he can immediately put it in perspective. Because he has a total knowledge of all reality. So that anything that confronts him, he can put it right into its place. And react to it almost instantaneously. Say, for example, identifying a danger, or more specifically, the immediate response in reaction to a dangerous situation. When a person immediately turns around and flees, or immediately looks for solutions how to alleviate the danger, he immediately reacts to it. Doesn't take time to contemplate and say, what do you do when you have this, and how do you respond to it? He instantaneously has a response to it. He has to protect himself from this danger. The fact that he has this immediate cognizance that he has to protect himself from this danger should tell you that this danger and his recognition of the danger is part of the reality that he is aware of.
As a matter of fact, sometimes people talking about danger, they say he runs away without even thinking.
Right. Because the thinking is constantly there. He is aware of all the possibilities.
Yeah.
He's always aware of the entire reality, the entire world. This thought, this level of thought, is telling the person his own truth. What is the person's own truth? This is important for us to contemplate. The person's own truth is not that he is contained within himself.
That he is?
It's not that he is contained within himself. It's not that he knows himself. The person's own truth is that he is a creation within a huge reality. This huge reality is what gives him a sense of being, a sense of reality. He's never relegated to his little spot that he occupies. He's always within a much broader encompassment. Even to the extent that the stars are part of his reality. He can't even touch the stars. He can't even contemplate what the stars are. But this is part of his reality. The entire environment, the infinite view that he can encompass in his view is all part of his reality. It's all part of his reality, and that is what is occupying, quote unquote, his thought. Anything that occurs occurs within this reality. This thought, level of thought, this is, its purpose is for himself. That thereby he becomes aware of his own life and becomes aware of the reality of his own existence. And all that encompasses it. It's all part of the reality. And then there is a derivative of that. That's called dibur, speech. And we say that dibur needs machshava, thought, as a preamble. Dibur is an expression of that which takes place in machshava. Dibur is not just the words as they are created. Dibur is expressing that which is taking place in his thought. As a matter of fact, this brings home the principle we discuss all the time. Robotic speech, we don't call speech. Because that robotic speech is not preambled by thought. It's not a real speech. Real speech is that which expresses thought. Why do we need thought in order to speak? We have it at the higher level, at the nefesh itself. And here's the point. Everybody understands that. That which is in the nefesh itself does not lend itself to come into thought. It is not formed for speech. Speech is where you take it outside. That thing is a totally internal thing. Doesn't exist on the outside level. When it comes into thought, then you identify that own reality at the thought as an existent, as an identifiable reality that is in thought. Once it's identifiable, then it can go into speech. But just one second. So thought is a necessity for personal use. But a person to live has to know himself, and that is on thought level. And this thought enables and allows for speech afterwards. Speech is a derivative, and a further elaboration, further development from thought. Yes.
Machshuv is also to the outside. Is already going to the outside, no?
To the outside, you mean for another person?
No, outside of the nefesh.
Out of the nefesh, yes. But for himself.
Okay. So let me ask a question. How can it be?
One second. Thought is for himself, to himself.
I missed it. I wasn't connected.
Thought is to himself. Thought is to know himself to himself.
Yeah, but
No, it's not time. 1 second. Himself exists before he goes into thought. I'll be explained. What is the thought stage? The thought stage is the conscious living. There's an neshama. The neshama is alive independently, but the neshama comes into the guf to give life and to express its life. Expressing its life means that it expresses itself on a manner that in a manner that can be known. That's in thought. As we said, a person knows that he's alive all the time, as long as he's alive, and he knows what it means to be alive. And he knows all the encompassments of life. This is the reason that he is able to respond to anything that occurs instantaneously, because it's part of the reality that he's aware of. This is thought. So thought is knowing himself to himself. Knowing the truth of his neshama to himself. But so he discussed, what's the point of knowing it? Knowing is that he becomes on a conscious level. Now it's a knowledge within the world encompassment, reality. It is not knowing himself to himself within himself. It is knowing himself to himself as from outside view. That it becomes a reality. This is thought.
From his goof level.
This occurs when the neshama is in the goof. That's true. But this knowledge does not come as a result of a person asking himself, what is this world about? And he's answering him what the world is about. It doesn't come in the form of an investigative process. This is he knows it as an insider. As an insider, he knows that his presence in this world is a real presence. He is meant to be functional in the world. And he has a mission given to him by his Creator in this world. The world is not something which is interfering, so to speak, with his being. No, he is here in order to fulfill a mission, a divine mission. This is called machshava. Whatever comes to him in this, at this level of machshava, clearly belongs to him, and he relates it, he processes it readily. This is part of my world, part of my reality. This is machshava. Then there is dibur. Dibur is where this machshava comes down a rung, a stage, and you're able to see it from someone else's standpoint. How am I going to tell him about this thought? I have to step into his shoes. He doesn't know what transpires in my nefesh. He is not privy to that. I have to present it to him without being inside at all.
These thoughts, like we said, they don't investigate. It's not question and answer. Is it just like a straight seeing of something? It's a straight perception. It's not against a backdrop.
The best way, true. Just want to see if I can put it in such a manner that we can actually handle this without losing its significance. Like we said a moment ago, that a person's presence in the world is not a strange reality. He belongs there. He was conceived, conceptualized to begin with, to be in the world as a human being. He belongs in the world. As a creation, as a creature, he belongs in the world. Therefore, anything that he finds out, anything that he is confronted with, anything that he experiences in the world, he experiences it as an insider. He's not sucked. Where does this come from? Where does this come from? This is part of the reality of the world.
Right. At the same time, he's having a thought that precedes any observation or confrontation, right? I mean, the point is that these thoughts are continuous, irrespective of dealing with X or Y. They're just ongoing.
The reason that the world is able to confront and deal with the world straightforward, smoothly, is because his chayas and chayas nefesh, this comes into thought. He's aware of himself. So he's not aware of himself, he can be aware of the world around him.
And this awareness of self, we call it a thought. It's not a seeing of self or a.
This is the first touch of the neshama into the goof. It's called the thought.
Right, and it's clearly not comparative.
It's not investigative. It's not confrontational. It is knowing the truth, his own truth, at the knowing level. at the point of this thought, even though he's knowing he's an insider, and he knows it as an insider, nonetheless, in the stage of machshava, because this is a knowledge on the thought level, which means the thought it's already mislabish in the brain, in the goof, there is oisiyos. There is a definitive content in how he knows things. And these oisis, as we said, all thought is in a form of a language. Maybe a language that is not a formal language, but there's a language on it. If a person walks and there is an obstruction in his path, and he has to turn right or left, he automatically turns right or left. He tells himself turn right, without as much as stopping and questioning and giving an answer. He tells himself to turn right, and it's a real message, and this message is in language. But the language is a very subtle language. And in order to, but this language can later be translated in words.
This language is there because he's having a dialogue with himself?
Yeah. Not a dialogue. It's not a dialogue.
No. So what's language doing in there?
Language is doing there because he knows something as an outsider. From outside, you know something from outside. If you know something from outside, there's a language. You translate what you know.
Again, from outside is this kind of consciousness, right?
There is a definition, what you know. Prior to machshava, there is not what you know. Once it comes to machshava, there is what you know.
And this you and what you know we're calling outside?
Yeah.
Because it's outside of the nefesh unto itself. And a person can never just be his nefesh. He's always like an outside.
It's a person after one shoma is in the goof, right? It's not never a nefesh alone.
And this outside is for real. It's not a fake sort of construct. It's his
right.
real. It's his real identity.
It's knowing. That's right. That this is the beginning, what enables all other koiches to come into function. This is from machshava, and then that comes on into dibur. Dibur is a reflection of machshava, almost identical. The difference is that lezulus is to present it to someone else who's not privy, who does not have access to your neshama knowledge, the neshama truth. And you're translating that neshama truth from machshava into dibur.